everybody. I'm Skip Alzheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show, where I found another reel to this insane Kellogg chimp infant experiment, where they raised a chimp and the couple's human infant together and raised them like as human kids, just to see at what point there would be a divergence in development, and horrible violation of animal and human subject rules that are imposed nowadays. But it was kind of the Wild West, the frontier in the early 20th century, and I put a link in the comments to what happened. It wasn't a good deal. It wasn't good what happened. But anyways, somebody requested a palate cleanser, and so I want to provide you with some silent black and white footage that has narration and music that makes you maybe feel better about our past. I believe this is about Exhibition of Progress in San Francisco, maybe? Boy, I need to do a little bit more research before I show stuff. But anyways, this is The Innocent Fair. Enjoy.
The fair had everything. When you tired of the auto racing, you could always watch the camels run. That is, if you weren't chasing after the penny toss car, or gawking at the movie stars and celebrities. Arbuckle and Mabel Normand, for instance, or listening to John Philip Sousa lead the band in the Court of the Universe. There were daredevils to amaze you. Some were in the water and others in the air. There was plenty of culture and history too, beautiful girls and beautiful animals. It was the most wonderful thing that ever happened to San Francisco. It had been a very busy century. First, the city had been shaken down, and then it burned down. And while the St. Francis was still a burned-out shell, plans for the Exposition were being made in the Little St. Francis, a temporary hotel on Union Square. The site selected was this mud hole out at Harbor View, near what was called Cow Hollow. By 1912, San Francisco was nearly rebuilt. You could ride up Market Street for 5 cents, either in a jitney or a streetcar, or get a 9-course dinner for $1. Out at Harbor View that year, President Taft turned the first spade of earth to the cheers of thousands who gathered for the groundbreaking ceremonies. And from what was once a swamp, a sunset city of pale travertine with green bronze domes began to rise. It stretched from Chestnut Street to the water, from Venice Avenue to Fort Point in the Presidio, a marvelous array of cloistered palaces filled with the treasures of the world. The sheltered courtyards and arcades protected visitors from the bay winds and summer fogs. Separated from the rest of the world, open only to the waters of the Golden Gate and the Marin Hills beyond. It truly was a world apart, a world of wonders, of lights, an innocent world. For by May of 1915, the Lusitania had been sunk, and we would never be so young, so innocent again. Opening day, February 20th, 1915, 200,000 people stood inside the Scott Street Gate in the South Garden. They waited for President Wilson to press a golden telegraph key. It sent a wireless message 3,000 miles to an antenna on the Tower of Jewels. This signal started the wheels of the giant diesel engine in the Palace of Machinery rotating, and the fountain of energy gushed forth, and a magical summer started for the people of San Francisco. If you went to the movies that year, you might have seen this trailer advertising the Panama Pacific International Exposition, along with Blanche Sweet and Thomas Mahan in The Secret Sin, and the latest chapter of Pearl White's new serial, The Exploits of Elaine. Here, the spirit of San Francisco mixes the gold of the poppies with the memories of 1906, and never forgetting how the world once befriended the ruined city, creates a wonderful fairyland and invites the world to come and share it. This charming and naive film helps to explain the tremendous emotional life the city received from the fair, why it has remained so vivid a memory after all these years. The exposition was really a symbol, a triumphant sign to the world that San Francisco had risen from the ashes. We had not only rebuilt the city itself, we had even built a second city, a city of jewels. The exposition was the first to have complete artistic supervision. Even the colors of each building were chosen from a master palette, and the sand on the paths was burned in a kiln to turn it the same color as the travertine walls of the palaces. This was the first exposition with indirect lighting, the first in which the flowers of the gardens were completely changed overnight as they faded. Indeed, John McLaren's gardens were the talk of the horticultural world. Hundreds of full-grown trees were transported from all over Northern California to the exposition ground. The fair was a crowning artistic achievement of the city that knows how. The directors of the exposition were terribly aware of the war that raged in Europe. It had very nearly wrecked their plans for any foreign exhibits and buildings. It took all the efforts of the directors to convince the nations of the world to participate at all. But by the opening day, 30 elegant pavilions lined the avenues of nations. Despite this, the shadow of the war hung over the fairground. As if in a premonition, the lights seemed brighter, the music more gay. The world was shrinking. We were becoming more a part of it each day, and we sensed it. The Tower of Jewels was a thing alive. On it hung 125,000 polished jewels of Bohemian glass, backed by bits of mirror. Shrouded by fog, they gleamed mysteriously. In the sun, Caught by every breeze, they shimmered and sparkled. At night, in the glare of 1,000 arc lamps, they danced and shone like a marvelous colored sun. The exposition was huge. Like all world fairs, people walked until their feet hurt. Then they rode in the overfair trains, traps, horse carts, wickerwork carryalls, and the famous Fragile trains. While most people had become pretty blasé about automobiles, the airplane still was the new thrill. Lincoln Beachey was the first aeronaut. After all, he had even flown through the Palace of Machinery in 1914 as a promotion stunt. It was the world's first indoor airplane flight. Beachey usually flew a biplane, but these films show him flying a new and daring monoplane. And minutes after this film was taken, Beachey crashed into the Golden Gate. He was given a hero's funeral, and the Exposition was in mourning for days. Art Smith was the next hero in the air. Most afternoons, he thrilled the crowds by just looping over the Marina Green. But at night, with the moon over the Golden Gate as a background, he attached flares to the fragile linen-covered wings of his plane. He was absolutely incredible. Daredevil, you bet your life. Anyone could see what Art saw from an aeroscope for just a quarter. There it is, whirling around 230 feet in the air, designed by Joseph Strauss, who would later design the Golden Gate Bridge. It was the top thrill of the zone. The zone was joy unconfined. This is Toyland grown up, a 14-acre playground for the children. To many people, this is their only memory of the fair. The sensation of the zone was Stella. Every World's Fair has its queen, Little Egypt, Sally Rand, but the zone had Stella, and no one who ever saw her forgot her charms. She was so real that she even seemed to breathe. That's a lot of loveliness for a dime. At the opposite end of the fairground stood everybody's favorite building, Bernard Maybeck's wonderful Palace of Fine Arts. It stood reflected in its lagoon as if it were a dream solidified. Even before the Exposition was over, the people of San Francisco were demanding that the Palace of Fine Arts be preserved. This colorful pageant was staged to help publicize their effort. There is a bold, imaginative quality about this pageant. Here is a lost art, lost along with our innocence, for who would take all this as seriously today as it was taken in the fall of 1915? surely this is how Maybeck wanted us to remember his palace. Millions of visitors came to the Exposition. A relative newcomer to the movies, but already a star, came over from Niles, where he was making 2 reel comedies for SNA. Charlie Chaplin. And 3 famous men met at the Palace of Machinery: Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and Luther Burbank. Ford showed his friends a complete auto assembly plant. Burbank displayed his Texas feeder, a spineless cactus developed for cattle feed. They then saw other wonders of the age, including an automatic post office, while Teddy Roosevelt waited for them in the car. It was a time when, secure in the past, people could face the future without any fear. Mrs. Edison was fascinated, for instance, by a new life-saving device, the baby incubator. These were the only incubators for premature infants on the West Coast at the time, and they saved the lives of several tiny children born that summer of 1915. Madam Schumann Heink was there, and Mabel Norman and Fatty Arbuckle got a free pass from Mayor Rolfe on the steps of the new City Hall. They were at the heights of their careers, unaware of the tragedies that would shadow both their lives. The entire world was at San Francisco's door. For entertainment, dancers from each country presented their folk dances. Here Vikings come ashore on Norwegian Day. Pretty girls landed too. Watch this charming delegation of daffodil girls representing Santa Cruz County take the marina by storm. Where are they going? To the California building, of course. Past the Forbidden Mission Garden to grace the Santa Cruz County exhibit. No one has ever forgotten how magnificent the exposition was. And it was beautiful. An indescribable aura of magic filled the many courts. Louis Mulgart's Tower of Abundance brooded over his mysterious court of ages. This strange Gothic fantasy was much admired for the deep thought behind its architecture. the fountain of the earth, sometime shrouded by clouds of steam, depicted man's rise from a primordial ooze. In 1915, you didn't just build a courtyard, you built a way of life. Inside the sheltered walls, all was serene and calm. But outside, all the new excitements of our century of speed were dazzling in array. Good old number 9 wins again, and to the victor belongs the spoil, a garden party celebration. The daily list of events was staggering. This stock show competed with the Japanese wrestlers, and a choice had to be made between watching the Marines land or entering your child in the baby parade. One of the great charms of the Panama Pacific International Exposition was that it combined all of the blandishments of a country fair with the rising sophistication of the young 20th century. Patriotism was running high. The most cherished visitor was the Liberty Bell, brought on a special flat car all the way from Philadelphia. There were parades every day, sometimes several parades every day. The fair closed officially on December 4th of 1915. Closing ceremonies were filled with emotion, and nearly 500,000 people wept as the flag was lowered from the Tower of Jewels. The scintillator, manned by Marines, projected patterns of light on great clouds of steam thrown into the air from a locomotive painted to look like marble. Everyone stayed to watch the lights, wandering quietly in the gardens, looking for the last time. The lights finally went out, but no one went home until dawn. As the lights went out, something left our youth. But the fair has endured. The beautiful Palace of Fine Arts still stands there, gently crumbling but gently reminding the Exposition has lived on in the hearts and memories of every man, woman, and child that spent an enchanted summer at the City of Jewels.
Alright, was that a palate cleanser from the Ape and Child experiment films? I don't know. Lots of great comments. Beautiful archival footage. And Lee Mendelson, who later did Peanuts and other animated projects. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Alright, so behind me, I have a film set up on the scanner. Let's watch. I think this is a tourist film. This is a film to encourage people to go to Spain. It's called Spain Rediscovered. Enjoy.
One brief moment of glory. And who knows what remains for the future. For Spain is a land of invasions. Today's invaders are friendly tourists, wealth of Spain and her people. The visitors come to bathe in the Mediterranean, to look at the remains of other invaders, a Moorish fortress, a Roman aqueduct, a royal palace built by an alien Bourbon king to rival Versailles. Spain has ever attracted visitors. 3,000 years before Christ, Berber tribesmen arrived from thirsty North Africa. The water of Spain so delighted them, they called it Iberia, land of rivers. The Carthaginians, also from Africa, claimed the land in the 4th century BC. They gave Spain its present name, meaning land of rabbits. Later, Roman invaders came, and it took them 2 centuries to drive out the Carthaginians and subdue the fierce Iberians. Under the Pax Romana, Spain enjoyed 4 centuries of peace and prosperity, the most tranquil period in her entire history. From the north, the Vandals and Visigoths invaded Spain in the 5th century. The Visigoths, Christianized barbarians, ruled as overlords for 300 years after the fall of Rome. But there was unrest in the land. The Visigoths fought among themselves and with the Iberians. And in the 8th century, united under the banner of Islam, the Moors invaded, sweeping all before them. Like the Iberians who had preceded them from thirsty Africa, the Moors found Spain an oasis. But unlike the Iberians, they transformed it into a paradise. The magnificent Alhambra reflects the beauty of Moorish Spain. A level of civilization was achieved that surpassed all others of its day. Cities flourished, and the entire population prospered. But in time, the Moors became divided, and the descendants of the Visigoths and Romans united to drive them out. Castle by castle, town by town, the Christian armies advanced. Finally, in 1492, the last Moorish stronghold, Granada, with its pleasure palace, the Alhambra, was occupied by their Catholic Majesties, Isabella and Ferdinand. 700 years of fighting the Moors had finally produced the Spanish nation. It is fitting that a woman should preside at that birth. Isabella of Castile had united her house with that of Aragon in 1469, and thereby united Spain. Ferdinand of Aragon, Machiavelli's perfect prince of intrigue, extended the power of Spain throughout Europe. He believed a lie in a good cause justified his ambitions to export Spain's new might into other realms. 1492 was that wonderful year in Spanish history. To this castle, Columbus came to report on his discovery of the New World. Flushed with the success of their explorers and liberation from the Moors, Spaniards now accomplished prodigious feats. For once, Spain was the invader, not the invaded. Cortez, with less than 500 conquistadors, subjugated all of Mexico. Pizarro, with less than 200, took Peru. It has been said, in Spain, the cross is in the sword. Christianity welded the Berber, Semitic, Celtic, Roman, Nordic conglomeration of peoples into the Spanish nation, the greatest nation of the 16th century. Gold and silver from the New World tripled the total supply of Europe. But Spain kept very little of the wealth that flowed into her. Much was squandered on European wars. And much was consumed in the construction of magnificent edifices like the Escorial, built by Isabella's great-great-grandson, Philip II. It was Philip who launched the Spanish Armada against England. When the Armada sank, so too did Spain's fortunes, after one lone century of greatness. Life in Spain is like guitar music, sweet and melancholy. Sweet in remembrance of her romantic past and her moment of glory. Melancholy because of what might have been and was not. Because of a people suppressed by tyrannical rulers, and not too long ago, devastated by a bloody civil war in which more than 1 million lives were sacrificed. But the sweet and melancholy life continued, with hope imprisoned behind the Pyrenees. Is it any wonder that Spaniards have become cynical and philosophic? They say that when God created Spain, he allowed the Spaniards 3 wishes. They chose varied climate, beautiful women, and delicious foods and fruit. And God agreed. But when they came back seeking a 4th wish, a good government, God said, that is too much. The Spanish patiently endure multiple government bureaus and their conflicting decisions. Yet throughout their history, they they have remained proud and individualistic. This is, after all, the Spanish way. The countryside and its people have not changed greatly over the centuries. Many communal villages still scratch a bare living from wasted lands around them. A common well is still found in the center of many villages, and daily tasks are performed in the same primitive way of past ages. Change has come slowly. Challenging custom, escaping poverty is hard. But now another invasion, the friendly tourist invasion, may give Spain the incentive and the inflowing riches to move out of her lethargy and isolationism away from stale custom. A carrot before the donkey of Spanish reluctance, revealing a modern new world. Today, Spain is on the move. Centuries of poverty, eons of custom may not be able to stop her this time. New economic policies have brought in millions in outside capital. Modern buildings are under construction. Automobile assembly plants hum. Reforestation program and the upgrading of olive orchards have added wealth and scenic beauty. All along Spain's Riviera-like coastline, fine new hotels lure the tourist. When Philip II moved his capital to Madrid in the 16th century, he decreed that the second story of every new building be donated to the purposes of government. For centuries thereafter, only one-story buildings were erected. But Madrid is no longer flat. Today, it has the look and feel of a modern European city. But Spain is ever a land of contrasts and contradictions. Sheep graze nearby as jets from Madrid's international airport soar overhead. Roots are deep. Barcelona, like the rest of Spain, is linked to a glorious past. She is named after the Carthaginian family Barca, the family name of the great general Hannibal. Barcelona has been described as a Hispanic blend of Paris and Vienna. Though commercially prosperous, her people are as proud of their artistic and cultural traditions as of their material prosperity. The love for water is part of the romantic Spanish heritage. Tradition, custom, have been the cement of Spanish society for centuries. But today a new era of social freedom is emerging. Political rights are broadening, and Spaniards in the cities are learning to enjoy unaccustomed easing of life's hardships. Other freedoms may follow. Today, education, like everything else in Spain, is freshening and on the rise in new university buildings, better facilities for the young. At the time of the Reconquest, Antonio the Nebrija presented Queen Isabella with a copy of his Castilian grammar, the first of any European tongue. He explained, "Language, Your Majesty, is the ideal weapon of empire." And so it proved to be, as Spanish became the basic language of much of the New World. Poverty is an inflexible master, permitting little time for recreation. But in today's Spain, avocations are becoming possible to those outside the aristocracy. A gathering of stamp collectors in Madrid's Plaza Mayor is a familiar sight. Every town and city has its bull ring, where any boy, rich or poor, can aspire to wear the suit of lights. Aristocrats started bullfighting from horseback, but they turned it over to the common people who fought afoot. But tastes change. Soccer, football, and other forms of sport have caught the Spaniards' interest. That great moment in Spain's history is not forgotten. That great 16th century when she was the leading country of the world, proudly commanding the march of civilization. Spaniards remember that greatness, that golden age, in their museums and monuments to the past. That interval of world prominence brought by Columbus. The comic wisdom of Cervantes' observation about them, through Sancho Panza and Don Quixote, the well-intended in a world gone mad. The Spaniard also knows of the riches of the great masters like Velasquez, who was ennobled by a grateful monarch. The El Greco Museum in Toledo reminds him of the mystic brilliance of that painter. El Greco painted some of the most dramatic canvases the world has ever known, with inner fire illumining and transcending the characters of his subjects. Goya recalls the beauty of which Spain was then capable and still is today. It has been said that pride is Spain's true wealth. The pride is still there. But the true wealth of Spain is her people. Today's Spaniard works hard, and he has reason to hope. This hope may grow to certainty, the certainty that life can be full and happy. How strong is custom? How firm is resolve? Age-old yoke of pride and tradition is yielding to the new spirit growing in Spain today. A rebirth.
Yeah, I thought, given the beginning where they showed the planes showing up, this is the first time I've seen this film. I thought, okay, well, this is going to be a film about tourism. No, it is a film about recent Spanish history, and it's not made by one of our normal folks. It's not made by Encyclopedia Britannica or by McGraw-Hill or Coronet. I think it's made by some company I haven't really heard of. Let me see if I can find it real quick. And Rediscovered by Neubacher and Vetter, made 1966. And they also did another film about Spain called Spain, Proud Past and Promising Future. So maybe they just repackaged the same film. Or, this could be what happened. The filmmakers wanted to go to Spain, and they wrote it off as an expense, as a travel expense. And they shot a bunch of footage, and then, had a holiday in Spain. Spent a month in Spain. I certainly have heard of examples of that, where filmmakers have come up with excuses to travel somewhere, and we're going to do a film there. Yeah. All right. So I'll give them that. All right. So we got a lot of people watching, which is awesome. And I've been talking about the toe tapping tournament, which we are going to pick winners of jingles from films that we've shown over the last year. And we need your help to vote, because we're going to come up with candidates that we're going to put up against Found Footage Festival, and we are going to trounce them again. But I need your feedback. Right now, there's more people watching this stream than have voted. And this is important because there are some songs that are neck and neck. And so what I did is I created this 7-minute version that has kind of a sample of each song and who's competing against who. So if you could watch this and vote, if you haven't already, that would be so helpful to AV Geeks. I mean, you can certainly donate money to this and help us, blah, blah, blah. But no, this is most important. We want your opinion so we can take on the Found Footage Festival and win again. You guys have done great the last 2 years. I feel like we can do this again. So here is a quick recap, or quicker recap than what I had before, of the toe tapping tournament, the left bracket. And then on Wednesday, we're going to show the right bracket, which is another 8 songs. So let's watch this. Thanks for watching and participating in the Toe Tapping Tournament 2023. We have 8 songs for you to look at, and they're competing against each other. So Fast Food is competing against Think Metric. Use Your Eyes is competing against People Working with Data. Safety as We Play is competing with Zip Code Song. Good Eating is competing with Magnificent Major. So we'll play all the songs in a row, and then you can vote. You have until April 19th, 2023 to vote on this bracket, and then we'll reveal the next bracket. All right, so we're going to start off with the fast food song.
Now the story here is about a gal who looked great, but she got it in her head that she ought to lose weight. Then she felt guilty about the stuff she ate. Bad diet. You name it, she'd try it.
What's going on here? What's on your mind? We're measuring everything we can find. We'll weigh with the scale, it's fun to do, and we'll count in grams, maybe kilograms too. Hey, look up, look down, look all around you. Tell me what you see. There's so much to be discovered if you'll look carefully.
Now I can be the kind of people who prefers to work with people, helping you or serving in some way. I prefer to guide and teach you, serve your needs. I'm there to meet you, reaching out to touch you every day.
And I'm the one who likes to sing whenever I'm at work with things. Using things is what I like to do. I work with things of different size, with different uses I've devised. To work with things is what I love to do.
And I feel that there's nothing greater than to work with facts and data. Information is the stuff I use. Investigators gather clues and commentators give the news. Data is the kind of work I choose.
So come along with me and see which of me you'd like to be. People, things, data too. We're all different sides of you know who. We all fit together to make up you.
We're going to practice safety as we play. We're going to practice safety as we play. As we walk and ride and play.
You heard what we said. Keep it all in your head. There's no better way. You zip code every day. You know you gotta have a zip code on the envelope. A zip code so you won't attract a home. A zip code morning, noon, and night, and everything will be alright.
Well, you get faster service and a lower cost. Fewer mistakes, no time ever lost. A lot less handling along the way.
No damage for you to pay.
You know you gotta have a zip code. Yeah, you're on the envelope. A zip code, yeah, or you won't attract a home. A zip code, yeah, your morning will go down, and everything will be alright.
I'm bored, I'm wasting time, what am I doing here? Why do I have to learn all this? It's not very clear. What good is it to me? Oh, what good is it to me? They tell me choose the place to learn what I need to know. But I'm just sitting here while I am waiting to grow. What good is it to me? Oh, what good is it to me? Reading and writing and arithmetic makes me sick. Chemistry, history, it's all a mystery. I don't need no education. I don't need no aggravation. I don't need everything I have to know. I can learn from a TV show.
Fruit and vegetables, and I'm like meat with food groups. Food groups. You gotta have some of us every day. We're food groups. Food groups. You gotta have some of us every day.
I'm in the dairy group, as you see. You gotta eat some of my friends and me. Buttermilk and yogurt too. Cream and cheese, either yellow or blue.
We're food groups. Food groups. You gotta have some of us every day. We're food groups. Food groups. You gotta have some of us every day. I'm in the meat group. We've got protein. There's protein in meat and protein in beans. Chicken and fish and nuts and ham. As good as meat, that's what I am. We're food groups. Food groups. You gotta have some of us every day. We're food groups. Food groups. You gotta have some of us every day.
So that's the left bracket, the first 8 films. As you can see, here's the matchup. One more time: fast food, what it's in it for you. Think metric, use your eyes. People working with data. Safety as we play versus zip code. Good eating versus magnificent major. Send your votes to skip@avgeeks.com. Would love to hear from you. And you have until April 19th. That's when we cut it off. Hope to see you at the lunchtime show at 1 o'clock. Enjoy. Wow, I say a lot, but you already knew that. That's why you like me. I get paid by the uhs. Yeah, so that was, I'm already seeing some votes. Thank you so much. Some of these are clear winners. but some of them are neck and neck, and that's really kind of fascinating. I'm not going to share which are which, but there's a couple that it goes, each vote kind of bounces it back and forth, and so that's fascinating to me, and it tells me that I assign these brackets randomly. Maybe if I should have said, like, okay, that one is a strong song that should be by itself, but I wanted to really kind of make it random. So, anyways, yes, please vote. If you want to rewatch that, it's on my YouTube channel. It's Toe Tapping Tournament Left Bracket, and we have until Wednesday, and then I'll show the next 8 songs, and you get to vote on those. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It's very much appreciated. I enjoy showing you stuff, maybe make you scratch your head and go like, what was that? I'm sorry if I traumatized you with the Ape and Child film. It is fascinating to me, and also just off the rails. We'll be back again tomorrow, Tuesday, and we'll watch some more films and talk about stuff. And if you like what you saw, hit the thumbs up. You can also donate. Thank you, Jeremy, for doing that. By hitting the super thanks button, or going to ko-fi.com/avgeeks or patreon.com/avgeeks. These are all places that you can support us. But just being there and supporting us and in voting for the candidate is a way to support us this week. So thanks again for tuning in. As always, I heart film, and we will see you tomorrow. Everybody, please take care. Have a great day.